come out onto the field in preparation for this battle in the NFC East. It's the Washington Redskins 3-1, the Eagles 2-2. And now, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Joe Buck. That is Troy Aikman. Pam Oliver is coming right up, as is a special preview of the new Bond movie coming up in a minute 43 and counting. We were there last week, Troy, in Dallas, and it was kind of a coming out party for Jason Campbell of the Redskins. He was outstanding, and he's going to try and make it back-to-back weeks there.
It was another week, Joe, in where we saw him really take another step forward. In fact, we could say the same thing about the entire football team. It gave us an opportunity to say, hey, this Redskins team is pretty good. Now they get another opportunity to try to prove that again today against this Eagles team. I thought it was interesting in talking with Jim Zorn. He said, our team is sore from that physical game they had last week. They've got another physical game here this afternoon.
Yeah, and he also said, I'll tell you who else should be sore is Philadelphia, because they played a physical game against the Chicago Bears. And if there's one major difference maker on any offensive roster in the league, it's Brian Westbrook. Was injured last week, back today.
Yeah, and if you go back and look at what the Eagles have not been able to do over the last 6 quarters while Brian Westbrook has not been on the field, it's been staggering. So I know that he gives this team a lift. Now, how healthy is he? Obviously, he's not 100%. It'll be interesting to see how long he'll be able to go. But obviously, the defense is going to be a big key. The Redskins have not turned the ball over. That's what the Eagles feast on. We'll see what happens here this afternoon.
We're also going to see this special sneak preview. I'm done talking. Are you done talking? We can just look down at this clock. 17, 16, 15. After the preview, it's the kickoff, and what should be a very fun day of football. Eagles, Redskins, yours on Fox, yours right now, the sneak preview, the Quantum of Solace. Pump that thing up nice and snug, because there is going to be some hitting, some running, some guys out of breath. This should be a fun day here in Philadelphia, where the weather is just perfect. On the 5th of October, 68 degrees, a little breeze through the stadium, partly sunny. The Eagles have been playing here since 2003. 2-2 meets 3-1, and what could be a big day for either side within this division. Sweetsham kicks it away, and Quentin Demps, the rookie, takes it in from inside the 10, and wow, did he get smacked at the 20. Kareem Moore was downfield, made the play after the 14-yard return by Demps. And here is this Eagles offense, and up front it is a major loss along this offensive line to not have the 2-time Pro Bowler Shawn Andrews available.
I couldn't agree more with you, Joe. Shawn Andrews is a Pro Bowl player, but he's the one guy on that offensive line that really moves the line of scrimmage. I mean, he's a road grader there at right guard. Max Gene Giles will fill in for him. He's not near the player that Shawn Andrews is, and so it'll be interesting to see when they do run the ball. They don't do a lot of it, but what side of the line of scrimmage they elect to run.
Starting just shy of their 20, a little screen, and who's on the other end of it? Westbrook. A sprained right ankle in the first half 2 weeks ago against the Pittsburgh Steelers, not available last week. That was good for 16 yards, and this is an Eagles team, Troy, that likes to put it in the air on first down.
And they like to get it to Brian Westbrook. I mean, you talk about how much this offense has missed him over the last 6 quarters. Of course, he did not play last week. He got hurt there against Pittsburgh, did not play in the second half. And that game last week against Chicago probably would have been much different had they have had number 36 on the field.
Especially late in the fourth quarter, being stopped at the goal line. At a 1st and goal from the 4, couldn't get it in and lost the game to the Bears. Here's Westbrook, who's trying to prove that his ankle is healthy. We'll show you the defense. We highlight the man who's wearing the radio helmet after you look at the defensive linemen and now the linebackers. London Fletcher wearing that helmet, but the Redskins, Troy, are without Marcus Washington today.
Well, without Marcus Washington, and then also without Sean Springs, who over the last 2 weeks, whether it was when he was covering Anquan Bolden in Arizona or last week Terrell Owens, he probably has been their best player on the field, but they've got some other quality players in the secondary, as we saw last week in the job they did against that Dallas offense.
Saw Jason Taylor. He's out for the second consecutive week as well. Second down. And again, it's Westbrook. I guess he's healthy, Troy. About 1.5 yards shy of a first down. So a 3rd and short coming up. And here are the key inactives today for the Redskins. And these are some big names. Even Stephon Hire, who is the typical starter at right tackle. There's Sean Springs, and Hire is replaced by a guy who manned this position for 9+ years in John Jansen.
And then with Jason Taylor, I had a chance to visit with him on the field prior to the game. That was a pretty major injury that he had, and he expects to be on the field next week playing. In fact, he thought that there was a chance that he might have been able to go this afternoon.
3rd down and 1. Fake the handoff, dump it off, and easy for L.J. Smith. Pretty play. First down, Philadelphia. 8 yards on that little dump off pass, and you can see the focus of the defense go with Westbrook to the left, and they just float L.J. Smith out to the right.
Yeah, and L.J. Smith, another guy who was unable to play last week. So what we've seen already here in this first possession for Philadelphia is Andy Reid going right to the 2 guys who were not able to go last week and making sure that they're okay and know that they're going to be a part of what they're doing here this afternoon.
On first down over the middle, that pass is dropped in and out of the hands of Brent Selleck. I mentioned the Eagles like to put it up on first down. They pass 58% of the time on first down. That's the 3rd highest rate in the NFL. And after not pounding it in last week at Chicago, everybody media-wise has been calling on the play calling again and criticizing the play calling of Andy Reid, who is, in our opinion, one of the best in the league.
Well, that, and I will tell you that when you have 3 downs from the 1 yard line to punch it in, you've got to believe that you can run that ball in. And I think he made the right calls, and had he have thrown it and not scored, I think he would have heard far more people crying about the play calling then.
Look at Westbrook just pick his way through that Washington defense. He picks up 5. Landry on the tackle for the Redskins, and Westbrook's been busy here in the opening possession.
I thought it was interesting in talking with defensive coordinator Greg Blosh about this Eagles offense, and he was talking about Brian Westbrook, how he thought that he would be back playing this week, and he said to us, Joe, that he thinks Brian Westbrook is the best offensive player in the National Football League. I mean, that's a pretty strong comment. I started thinking about it and saying, wow, who would you put ahead of Brian Westbrook? But I posed this question: if you were to be told you could start a franchise, and what offensive player would you pick? I think it would have to be a quarterback.
Here's a little toss to Reggie Brown, and Reggie picks up a first down. So if they're not going to throw it to these wide receivers, they can do little end arounds and reverses, and that one flipped into the hands of Brown, who fought for a first down and a 6-yard run.
Well, what's interesting about this Philadelphia team really all season long, because Kevin Curtis has not been able to play yet this year. Of course, as we said, Brian Westbrook has been down, L.J. Smith, Reggie Brown missed the first couple of games, but yet other guys have been able to step up and make plays, and this is an offense that, even without their full arsenal, has been able to move the ball really pretty well for the most part in each and every game.
Long drive now for this Eagles team as Buckhalter is in the backfield replacing Westbrook. A pocket for McNabb, and the pass is caught by L.J. Smith. He's got another Philadelphia first down. Impressive drive put together by McNabb and the Eagles. That completion. Second catch for L.J. Smith, good for 11.
L.J. Smith comes into the game with 6 receptions on the year, and I know that this is a pivotal year for him. They gave the franchise tag on him in the offseason. It says to him that, hey, we think you're a heck of a football player, and probably has not played at the level that this organization expects him to, but I know he comes into this year hoping to have a great season.
How about a reverse to Deshaun Jackson? Has some blocking in front of him, and what a good play by the rookie Horton. Horton came in and maybe saved a touchdown as Deshaun Jackson was about to pick his way down the sideline. That was good for 8.
Hey, Chris Horton, I mean, what a start to his career he's had. He was named NFL Defensive Rookie of the Month. Got 3 interceptions already, leads the team, and has been a real playmaker. I mean, he's got tremendous range. He's got great speed. And then what you lack with a guy like that as a rookie is you lack the experience of really being able to identify and see the various formations and things that offenses are trying to do. He has had some big mistakes that have led to some touchdowns for opposing teams, but overall he's been exceptional.
You got L.J. Smith at the top of the screen, one-on-one with McIntosh. That's where McNabb goes, and McIntosh makes the play. How about that for the big linebacker? Rocky McIntosh is out there. He wants to hear it from the crowd. He was on an island with L.J. Smith and won the battle.
Yeah, this is pretty good job here. You know, I mean, I think Rocky McIntosh has some pretty good coverage skills, but, you know, he never turned and looked for the ball. And so you ask yourself, was there contact? Because pass interference then would have been called. But, you know, there was a block, which is okay. I mean, it's okay to shield an opposing receiver's eyes. But I think that was a good non-call.
I do too. I don't think he made contact with him, even though he never turned around for the ball. Now it's 3rd and 2. Fake the handoff, throw it to Jackson, and the rookie has a first down. Marty Mornhinweg and Andy Reid have put together a plan that here on this opening drive, a lot of dinking and dunking and a lot of first downs to pretty much cram it right down the Redskins' throat.
And that's really what they've had to do throughout the season, as I said. I mean, when you have players, key players that are down, somehow then as the play caller, Marty Mornhinweg, you've got to be able to make some adjustments and say, okay, well, how then are we going to be able to attack this particular defense? This possession has been impressive.
1st and goal. Handoff is to Westbrook. Touchdown. And for those looking for a balanced attack from Andy Reid and Marty Mornhinweg, it was just that as the Eagles strike first.
Yeah, well, they bring Deshaun Jackson around, and that holds this backside. It keeps them from really being able to collapse in on Brian Westbrook, and then he's able to break a couple tackles and get into the end zone for the score.
12 plays on that drive, 6 passes, 6 rushes. That's like 50-50. How about that for a little math for you on a Sunday? Touchdown, like Eagles. They lead 7-zip. What a start for Philly. Well, right after the touchdown, Brian Westbrook came over to the sideline. They took his pads off, laid him down on the trainer's table, and started pushing on his chest. But he was an enormous part of that opening drive, which has the Eagles up 7-0. And now Rock Cartwright from a couple of yards in his end zone picks his way through the kick cover team out across the 30. Brian Westbrook pointing to that chest. Got a little work done. Looks to be okay. Redskins have it for the first time. Down 7. Defense looking for answers on the sideline after that touchdown drive put together by the Eagles. And now here is Jason Campbell, who had a huge day at Dallas last week. On first down, going to put it up, and got hit by Quentin Michael. Incomplete pass. A blitz from Jim Johnson, Troy. That's surprising, huh? Yeah, right off the bat. And this is something that Jason Campbell, he's got to be able to see that they were bringing more people than what the offense was able to block. And so Quentin Michael coming right off the edge. Quentin Portis has to decide, okay, who am I going to block? And he couldn't obviously then take Michael. And Jason Campbell just had no urgency on getting the ball out. They were fortunate when a ball goes up that high, typically it's intercepted. So 2nd down and 10. Quick setup and throw to Moss, and he gets hit by Brown, incomplete. Sheldon Brown closed on it in a hurry, and we look at this offense. We mentioned Stephon Hire is out. backs and receivers, and really the receiving yardage has been dominated by wide receiver Santana Moss and tight end Chris Cooley. 3rd down and 10 for Jim Zorn. The head coach, short-time offensive coordinator, and the play caller. Now they move Campbell, and he throws it right into the ground. Jaquay Parker was coming up in the face of Campbell, and what a good start defensively for Jim Johnson's crew.
Hey, Jim wanted to come out and set the tempo early. This is a defense that's built around being physical, getting after the quarterback, and we saw a little bit of all that here on the first 3 plays.
So the Eagles going to get it right back as Brooks hits it. Not a very good punt, and Deshaun Jackson with a chance. Penalty flag comes in. A flag is down, and so is Jackson down the sideline and into the end zone. But a flag is down. This one appears to be coming back. Gene Steratore is our referee today. Deshaun Jackson had 6 punt returns for touchdowns in college. He has a long of 60 returning a punt so far in the NFL, and that was 68 for a touchdown, but a flag was thrown.
I'll tell you, there was some good blocking there. Of course, it looks like one of them is going to be called for a hold, but I tell you, Deshaun Jackson did a nice job of setting that one up too. I mean, he had a lot to do with why he went the distance.
There is no foul for illegal block in the back. The illegal block in the back was a member of the kicking team, number 50. Therefore, there is no foul. The result of the play is a touchdown.
So they pick up the flag, and it was called against number 50 of the kicking team. That would be 50 of the Redskins, Kari Campbell, instead of 50 of the Eagles' Tank Daniels. Here's Daniels right here, number 50 coming in, and it was 50 on 50, and there's a block. Looked like in the back, that's where they threw the flag, but they picked it up.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe, on that one.
I think they got confused. It was 50 blocking 50, and it certainly looked like it was the Eagles' number 50, Tank Daniels, with a block in the back on Campbell. But they pick up the flag. Deshaun Jackson has a 68-yard punt return for a touchdown, and Jim Zorn wants to know what happened. Last time the Eagles had a punt return for a touchdown was 2003 when Westbrook did it against San Francisco. And the rookie, what a difference he's made, huh?
Well, the guy has been a real playmaker for them, and what he just did is what a lot of people thought that the Eagles drafted him to do, is to be a return guy, and he has shown that he can be an exceptional wide receiver in this league as well. Now, he's still a little green, but he's getting better each week.
Cartwright takes the knee. The Redskins will start at their 20, and in a blink, they're down 14-0 as Deshaun Jackson catches his breath. The Eagles are doing what so many others are doing across this country. This is their 5th year of Tackling Breast Cancer initiative. It raises awareness and funds for care and research during Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. Past 4 years, Eagle fans have contributed $850,000 through the purchase of Eagles pink merchandise and contributions as we go back to the block in the back.
Yeah, that's Tank Daniels right there, and he's going to come after Kari Campbell. And Campbell was already out of the play when the contact was made, but the official, as you saw, Joe, he threw it immediately when he saw Tank Daniels come in, and it still was a block in the back, whether it had any impact on the outcome of the touchdown run or not. But you know, obviously the Redskins upset about the fact that that one was lifted.
That was Danny Smith, who runs the special teams for Jim Zorn. A couple of runs by Portis, and he picks up a first down. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
Seahawks and Giants. Dominic Hickson getting the start in place of the suspended Plexico Burress and making it pay on the opening drive, his first NFL touchdown 32-yard reception from Eli, and the Giants have a 7-3 lead over the Seahawks. Back to Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Troy, we've talked to Eli Manning about Dominic Hickson. He really thinks he could be a good wide receiver. Typically been just a return guy as Campbell rolls right and throws it away. Good pressure by Stuart Bradley, the middle linebacker, in his second year. And we look at the defense. And Bradley will pop up in that group of linebackers, Troy. They are young and they are big.
Yeah, and they are good too. And I think that's the best part about it is they're really good players. They're very, very athletic. They run well. They're an unselfish group. And then, as you said, they look like they're going to be here for a long time because they're a young group of players.
Jason Campbell, this game's barely started. He's been under pressure already from Jim Johnson's defense. Here's a toss to Portis. He gets popped. That was Sheldon Brown coming off the edge, and Sheldon's slow to get up, as is Clinton Portis. That was only a 2-yard run, and it was a painful 2 yards at that.
I tell you, Sheldon Brown, he's one of those corners in this league. There's not a lot of them that I think is a complete player. You look at him get involved there in run support, and his job as the corner is to make sure he turns it back inside. He's got an offensive lineman coming out to block him, and yet he's still able to make a play. Most of those guys that are as good a cover guys as what he is, they don't want to get anywhere near the football when a running back has it in his hands.
Lito Shepherd takes his spot, the former starter, on third down. Campbell goes down. Jaquay Parker is there to push him to the ground. It's a gain of 1, so no sack. But the pressure from Parker made Campbell think about throwing it downfield.
And Jim Johnson singling everywhere else on the field, but doubling Santana Moss. He's been their big play receiver through the first 4 games of the year. They're going to make sure that he does not have an opportunity to get loose. And you can tell Campbell that's where he was wanting to go with the football.
Deshaun Jackson would like another. Calls for a fair catch back near the 15. So it has been a dominating opening quarter so far for the Philadelphia Eagles here at home, trying to get over the 500 mark. They're 2-2, and they lead 14-zip. Well, Jim Zorn, nice piece that Pam Oliver did for Fox NFL Sunday, and the conversation that followed. There's that relationship with Jason Campbell. They highlighted it. He was just over there talking to him as the Redskins are trying to dig out of a 14-0 hole. Quick setup and throw, and a completion is to Brown, good for 11, first down. And let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Yeah, Joe, Deshaun Jackson, he's considered very explosive, very exciting, but he's widely considered very cocky, and not the good kind. But Eagles great Harold Carmichael has sort of taken the kid under his wing. He finds him very coachable, very eager to learn. But from a defensive standpoint today, the Redskins spent little time on Deshaun Jackson offensively. They said, quote, because it's McNabb and Westbrook who kill us every time. Back to you.
All right, Pam, thank you. As Westbrook carries it and over the left side picks up 2.
I tell you what, if Deshaun Jackson keeps returning, return 60 yards for touchdowns, if I was his teammate, he could be as cocky as he wants to be.
Absolutely. And he's really been the biggest playmaker on the outside for McNabb. I'm sure they don't care if he's cocky.
Yeah, and I know that he has made some mistakes. The interception last week against Chicago that Donovan had was a result of him not, running a real good route. He had the mistake there against the Cowboys when he dropped the ball before he crossed the goal line. Some of those things are excusable, some of them aren't, but he has really injected some life into this offense.
Penalty flags as McIntosh looked like he had a hold of L.J. Smith. Last time we had a flag on the field, they picked it up. We'll see who this one is against.
Pass interference, defense, number 52, spot foul, automatic first down.
So that's McIntosh, who's been involved in coverage a lot against L.J. Smith already in this first quarter.
He's been locking up with L.J. Smith. You see, L.J. Smith is actually going to run a little out and go. Had Rocky McIntosh not have been holding, that would have been a pretty big play for Philadelphia.
Handoff to Buckhalter, and he's tripped up by Carter in the backfield, and a loss of 2 on the play. Good play by Andre Carter, who just shot through and was basically there for the handoff.
Yeah, Andre Carter is one of those guys who's just a relentless player. He's able to get inside of Trey Thomas and then make the play on Buckhalter before he gets to the outside. But you know, Greg Williams, the former defensive coordinator, he would always talk about Andre Carter and say that he's the best conditioned athlete that he had ever been around in all his years of coaching. And that's what I was concerned about at the top of the game, was how long would Brian Westbrook be able to stay in.
Doesn't appear to be his ankle. And I know you're thinking paging Dr. Buck.
No, you're right.
You never like to guess, but it seems to be something up top in the chest area. That's what they've been working on, at least. And that really has been the concern, at least from my perspective. It obviously has not been for the Eagles, because they signed him to that long-term contract. But at 29 years old, he's still relatively young, even for a running back in the National Football League. But he has had a number of injuries. You know, he's been dealing with the knee injury, and then this year, you know, with the ankle. And I was a little surprised. I think Brian Westbrook is a terrific football player, a great player. But with the injuries that were starting to mount, I was a little surprised that they committed those kinds of dollars to him prior to the season. On 3rd down and 12. Pass is complete to Brown. Boy, there was a lot of confusion on this side of the field prior to the snap, with guys looking at each other defensively for the Redskins in coverage, and that's a 24-yard completion.
Well, Donovan McNabb gets good time here. They're rushing 4, but 1 doesn't even get off the line of scrimmage, and you see the holes in the zone right there. If you think back to last week and the job that the Redskins were able to do against the Cowboys, a big part of that game, they were in man coverage. More zone in this one, and so far Donovan's done a good job of picking that zone coverage apart.
This could turn into a blowout here in a hurry if the Washington defense doesn't figure something out. Handoff is to Buckhalter, and a penalty flag is down at the 30. A 2-yard run by Buckhalter, and this one's against the Redskins. It's like too many men on the field. It was Jason Taylor who had that 133 consecutive game.
Defense, 12 men. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
It's a big 12 men on the field called last week that worked to the Redskins' advantage in Dallas. This one makes it a 1st and 5.
Yeah, I don't know what you think, Joe, watching this so far, but you know, last week the Redskins, I do believe that they were the more difficult team between them and the Dallas Cowboys, and it showed, and they went on to win that football game. But you know, it's hard, and I know fans don't always understand it. It's hard to get up to that emotional level week in and week out. I thought that was going to be the challenge coming into this game for Washington, and they do not look like they've been up for the challenge in this first quarter.
McNabb setting up a screen, and it's complete to Tony Hunt, but a good play by London Fletcher to come in and make the tackle. Just a 2-yard gain. Well, I know a lot of fans in Philadelphia are keeping one eye on the Eagles game and one eye on the Phillies game, and we look ahead to Thursday night. The Dodgers have advanced. They swept the Chicago Cubs. Cubs were swept out last year as well. The National League Championship Series will start Thursday night at 8 o'clock. The Phillies are up 1-0 in game 4 as they lead 2-1. Over the left side, it's Buckhalter. London Fletcher, the middle linebacker, sticks his nose in there, makes the play. A carry of 3 yards, and with a minute left in the first quarter, a 3rd down coming up for the Eagles. Citizens Bank Park is right across the street in what is one of the better sports complexes in any city that we visit.
Well, these facilities here in Philadelphia over the years have really, I know back when I was playing at the Vet, and that's where they trained, and now they got the NovaCare Center where they train during the week, and you know, the link here. And it's a great place to be, and it's a great place to play for these athletes, and great for these fans to watch these games in these beautiful stadiums.
3rd down and 5, and that one is through the hands and incomplete. Greg Lewis, the intended receiver, and Donovan McNabb kind of rolls his eyes, and the head goes back, wondering, either the throw should have been a little bit lower, or Greg Lewis should come down with the ball.
Well, Donovan will get a little erratic at times, and we've seen that. And sometimes on some of these shorter throws, you know, he'll come with some pretty good heat on him too. Now that's a ball that, I mean, not an easy catch by any means. You want to put that ball down, but still a ball that Greg Lewis should have been able to catch.
Here's another guy who has been erratic, David Akers, erratic to say the least. He missed twice last week at Chicago, and this one is no good. Through the Eagles' Super Bowl year, David Akers was regarded as one of the most consistent kickers in the NFL. In fact, statistically, was the second most accurate kicker in NFL history to Mike Vanderjagt through that Super Bowl year. Now, since then, he has really struggled, and some say, well, he got in too good a shape over the offseason, something that I know I'll never be accused of. But it is an issue, at least here with the Eagles.
Well, it's an issue that he's been missing field goals. I mean, there's no question about it. I think it has gotten in his head a little bit. I mean, there's been so much written here in the Philadelphia area about the struggles that he's been through, that how can you not go out there on the field when you're kicking a 40-yarder or more and not think about it?
That was a miss from 50, and it gives the Redskins maybe a little life as Cooley can't hang on. And out there in coverage was Gokong, the strong side linebacker.
You know, and Andy Reid has said that he has full confidence in David Akers as his field goal kicker, and you know, you take him at his word. But I got to tell you that if you are a head coach in this league, and I believe that if you ever get to a point where you question whether or not a guy can make a kick for you, I think that's when it's time to make a change.
2nd down and 10. Handoff is to Portis. Impressive run by Portis as he picks up 7. Jason Campbell to start games has been red hot. He was so against New Orleans, Arizona, Dallas today. 0 for 5 to start. 14-zip Eagles. Back after this from your local Fox station as we go to the second. Just saw the 14-3 Giants lead at home over Seattle. Here it's 14-0 Philadelphia, and Dallas plays later today at home against Cincinnati. 3rd down and 3 for the Redskins. They need a 1st down here. Campbell throws and hits Cooley. 1st down, Washington. And Campbell showed good arm strength in getting that ball out to Cooley for a 6-yard completion.
Yeah, he sure did, because he initially wanted to go to Santana Moss, but they doubled him up. They ran a linebacker underneath, and then he's able to get to the backside, which he did so often last week and so well. Yeah, you see Campbell, there he is trying to get it to Moss. He comes all the way backside. That's a good job. I mean, and he shows great poise in doing it. A lot of times when you get to the 3rd guy, you're rushing your throw and you're not making good throws. That was a good throw by Jason Campbell.
Here's a screen to Cooley as Samuel's out in front of him, who delivers a big block, and Cooley is down inside the 30 to the 28. 19 yards. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
Well, that Giants offense keeps humming against Seattle. This is Brandon Jacobs' 3-yard touchdown run. Eli Manning 7 for 7 for 145 yards and a touchdown. And the Giants have a 17-3 lead over Seattle in the second. Back to Joe, Troy, and Pam.
Thank you, Kurt. 1st down Redskins trying to get it in the end zone as they trail by 14. Handoff is to Portis over the right side. A nice 1st down carry of 6. I thought Jim Johnson put it rather succinctly when he said we need to be able to stop Clinton Portis with 7 in the box to allow us to help in the secondary on Santana Moss, because Moss is really the top priority coming in.
Yeah, they've mixed it up a little bit on that last play. You know, they had 8 guys in the box. They brought Quentin Michael off the edge. Clinton Portis was just able to get inside of him and get going north and south for the positive yards.
Moss does not have a catch so far today as Portis lowers his head, picks up a yard. And a 3rd and relatively short coming up for the Redskins.
Of course, Clinton Portis coming off a huge game last week against Dallas, where he averaged just under 6 yards per carry. You know, his best yard per carry average in quite some time. And, you know, he got better as the game went along. And, you know, Clinton Portis is one of those guys who plays hard each and every snap. He's a joy to watch. And he's usually better in the 4th quarter than he is in the 1st and 2nd quarters.
3rd down and 3. And Campbell wasn't ready for the snap. There was movement along the line of scrimmage, and it's 4th down. I think Robach just snapped the ball, and I don't know that Campbell was ready for it, and he just took a knee. It's 4th down.
Well, you can tell as to whether or not he was wanting it or not, and you're right. I mean, obviously, and then you don't know what to do as a quarterback. He just takes a knee. He's hoping that the ball was snapped because Robach saw a defensive player offside. I mean, otherwise, as a quarterback, you drop out and you try to run the play as best you can. Tell you, we did that game last week. Robach's had an interesting couple of games. 2 penalties last week on the same drive to nullify touchdowns, and now Sweezum kicks it and glances it through. That has paint on it. So Sweezum banks one home from 41. Off the left upright and through. 14-3. Had it all the way. Sweezum about to kick it away. He just made it a 14-3 game. 12 minutes left in the half. That was the tail end of an 8-play drive. And here is Demps. Quentin Demps. Horton on the tackle. 18-yard return. Mark Wahlberg and Ludacris, starring in Max Payne, out in theaters October 17th, and they're here. I believe they're in Jeffrey Lurie's box, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. And in the way of full disclosure, Max Payne is indeed a Fox movie. So shameless promotion. Once again, and we lead the league in that, and we're not apologetic. I was going to say, we don't apologize for that.
Westbrook is back on the field for the Eagles, so that's good news for Philadelphia as they start at their 20. Play action, and McNabb guns it to Greg Lewis, who's across the 40. Horton on the stop out to the 42, a 22-yard completion.
Pretty good protection once again for Donovan McNabb. You see the play action there. Try to hold the linebackers a little bit, but he's got a pretty good lane there. It's just a matter of getting it over the head of Rocky McIntosh, which he is able to do. And Greg Lewis, he's off to a pretty good start this year. You know, for a number of years now, I've been kind of waiting for Greg Lewis to have an impact. I know they really like him within this team, but he is off to a good start for this organization.
Here's Westbrook, and there's Carter on his back, a gain of 3. Lewis has been primarily just a very good special teams player, but the injuries to Kevin Curtis, who may be back next week, getting over a sports hernia. He's been out for 6 weeks. And then Reggie Brown, the first 2 games, that's allowed Deshaun Jackson to become a star, and Greg Lewis to play, and Avant and Hank Baskett. And offensively, it's been very good. This is the 6th ranked offense coming in at the start of the day. Second and 7. McNabb looks for Jackson and nearly picked off by Rodgers. Right into Carlos Rogers' stomach. And a guy who has had a tough time hanging on to potential interceptions could not there. That was tailor-made.
Well, one of the things that the Eagles like to do is run these quick slants, and the Redskins know that. And so Carlos Rogers was playing inside leverage. And when you've got a corner playing inside on a receiver like that who has to then run a slant, you know, a guy driving on it the way Carlos was, it's hard to get across his face. Fortunate that that ball was not intercepted.
The Eagles are 4 for 5 on 3rd down in this game. It's 3rd and 7. A blitz. McNabb throws, and the pass is caught but out of bounds. Lorenzo Booker. And for a guy, Lorenzo Booker, who we heard a lot about during the preseason when we did their game against Carolina, he really has had very little impact after that trade they made to get him from Miami.
Yeah, he hasn't had the big plays, Joe, that they were anticipating, and you know, he's got great quickness. You can watch him and you see that he's got a lot of skills, and I think that before the season's over, we're going to be talking about Booker and saying, wow, what a great addition he has been, but it hasn't happened just yet.
Sabraka booms one that checks up inside the 5, and that's about as good as you can do it. To the 2-yard line, and now Jim Johnson's Philadelphia defense will be bringing the heat as Jason Campbell and the Washington offense is backed up at their own 2 after a 53-yard punt.
They're on first down and accomplishing that.
And not surprising that they would run left behind Chris Samuels, who Jim Zorn will tell you is their best offensive lineman. Here is Clinton Portis, about a yard shy of a first down. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, Redskins defensive tackle Cornelius Griffin is in the locker room. The trainers are checking on his shoulder. They think it's a shoulder sprain. They're hopeful he can return. If not, to my count, Joe, that would be a total of 4 defensive starters out of the game. Meantime, Brian Westbrook will continue to play in this game, despite what the Eagles say is a rib injury.
You're right. Your count is accurate. And up front, they're losing guys. 3rd down and 1. Portis, left side, has blocking in front of him and picks up that important first down. A run of 4 yards. Stuart Bradley on the tackle for Philadelphia.
You know, Pete Kendall brought into Washington last year, and what a great pickup he has been for them. A former first-round pick. You're going to see him pull around, and he's going to lead the way. Clinton Portis is going to break off of that block, and he's able to get the first down there before Stuart Bradley makes the play. That's a nice job coming off that goal line and getting a first down.
Clinton Portis doesn't strike you as a big guy, but he is in the category of a power back. This is power back. This is Betts, who's also in that category as he carries it for about 9+. About 9.5. I mean, Portis, wouldn't you say, I think the perception would be, well, he's not really big, and he started in Denver where they kind of stretch it out, and he was more of a slasher, but he'll stick his nose in there and run hard between the tackles.
Oh, there's no doubt. In fact, he loves it. I mean, he will tell you that he is a downhill runner. He does not like trying to get out on the edges. He wants the ball. He wants to hit it going north and south as quickly as possible. I mean, every yard that he has gotten for the Washington Redskins while he has been here has been hard-earned.
2nd and 1, and here is Betts, and there's a first down and more. Look at Santana Moss blocking downfield. 13-yard run, impressive drive. Here's Kurt for the game break.
Falcons and Packers. Aaron Rodgers starting with that sprained shoulder. He's been up and down in this game, but when he has been up, it has been pretty, including this one. In the double coverage, 44 yards for the score to Donald Driver. Falcons holding on, though, to a 3-point lead in the 2nd quarter. Back to Pam, Troy, and Joe. Just to mix it up.
Thank you, Kurt. Well, that's a pretty good throw with a sprained shoulder.
Yeah, he was covered pretty good. I don't know how the ball even got in there.
5 straight runs on this drive, and now dropping back is Campbell, and down he goes. Brian Dawkins with the sack. 20th career sack for Brian Dawkins, and for the Eagles, they lead the league now with 18.
Well, you see Brian Dawkins, I mean, clearly Jason Campbell thought it was going to be picked up, whether Liddell Betts should have been there to block him, or, you know, he had a free defensive lineman, and he chose to go after him. And that's why Brian Dawkins came as free as he was able to. That looked like they should have had enough blockers to block everybody up, and so Campbell, thinking he's got it, he didn't have it.
2nd and 18. They screen it to the left side. Cooley showing some moves as he is dragged down across the 35.
You know, what was it when we were talking to Jim Zorn the other day, Joe, and asked him about this Eagles defense, and he said that he thinks that Jim Johnson is an evil man, you know, because, and the reason is because he has great respect for Jim Johnson and the job that he does coordinating this defense. But when you put on the film as a coach and you start trying to put together a game plan, you know, you see all the things that they do, and it is hard to get ready for this group with all of the blitzes, and he'll come at any time.
It was a very respectful evil, he called him. Campbell throws, and there's the rookie Thomas. Big catch for Devin Thomas, 15 yards and a first down for the Redskins.
Yeah, that was a big first down conversion there. Look at the cushion that he's going to get from Asante Samuel. They're certainly respectful of his speed. I know Devin Thomas, going back to the Arizona game a couple of weeks ago, he got called for a couple of pass interference calls when pushing off. And he said it's just a matter of getting used to balls being contested at the NFL level. You know, when he was in college, he was so much faster than everybody that rarely was a ball contested like they are in the NFL.
Here is Portis, who stops, cuts it upfield, and picks up a yard. We look ahead to next week's games. The Washington Redskins, and this is really brings up a bigger point. They're at home against St. Louis, who'll be playing under Jim Haslett for the first weekend. Carolina, Tampa Bay, Chicago, Atlanta, Detroit at Minnesota. The late games, it's a doubleheader day. Dallas at Arizona, Philly at San Francisco, Green Bay at Seattle. The Redskins' next 3 opponents are a combined 1-10. And so Washington, coming off that win at Dallas, has a golden opportunity here today as Yoder makes the catch and Samuel makes the tackle.
And I think because of that, Joe, I think that makes this game for the Eagles even that much more important because, as you said, Washington's schedule, now obviously we don't know, it's the NFL, every week is a difficult week, but just looking at schedules, you know, you would say that the Redskins could rattle off, you know, 3 wins right away after this one, and the Dallas Cowboys face a similar schedule with, you know, the easiest part of the games that they're going to be playing. And so if the Eagles lose today, then it's going to be probably a month from now before they're able to make any real gains.
Portis in the slot on the left side of the formation. Campbell looks for him, and what a catch. Troy, I know he's one of your favorite players, and that was not an easy catch as he made his cut.
Was not an easy catch. He's going to the outside, a ball that's thrown out in front of him, you know, pretty well. You see Clinton Portis, this is the option route. They get a lot of freedom on running these types of routes and talking with Jason Campbell, and you know, you're running away and he's leaking up the field a little bit and then having to stretch out for the ball. And you know, he's a talented guy and he's a real athlete, but that's not something he spends a lot of time doing during the course of the week.
Here's Portis over the right side, and this has been the Clinton Portis drive with that one big completion to Devin Thomas. The 13th play of this drive is coming up, and this crowd is trying to get behind their defense to come up with a stop. Remember, this thing started on the 3-yard line, and the reason why this crowd is reacting, Pat Burrell just hit a 3-run home run for the Phillies as they extend their lead in Milwaukee, trying to wrap up that division series and hook up with the Dodgers on Thursday night here in Philly. 2nd and 7. Here's Betts to the 30. A gain of 1, 3rd down coming up. Troy, do you realize we're 2.5 minutes away from halftime? This thing has flown by.
It really has.
2 quick strikes by Philly, and now there's Cornelius Griffin coming back out. Boy, if the Redskins, Troy, can come up with a touchdown on the end of this drive that started at their own 3 and close it to a 4-point game, wow.
Well, and that would be huge, no doubt. I can tell you that regardless of what happens on this possession, this Redskin team, I mean, they're not going to lay down. I mean, it's going to be a full 60-minute fight, and they have shown that, and I think that's a credit to what Jim Zorn has brought to this club.
Timeout is taken by the Redskins sideline. We'll take a break. 2 minutes 4 seconds left in the half. Washington moving it. 3rd down when we come back. Two minutes 4 seconds left in the half. 3rd down and 6 for Jason Campbell, Santana Moss, Antoine Randall L, Chris Cooley, Liddell Betts, and James Thrash. That one's batted down and incomplete. 2 minutes left in the half, and it will be 4th down on the other side of the 2-minute warning. So we will take a break. Squeeze them. We'll try to make it 14-6 when we come back to Philadelphia. Well, this was a drive for the Redskins. It started at their own 3. 10 minutes 15 seconds on the clock. Now there are 2 minutes left in the half, and the 48-yard try by Sweezum to make it an 8-point game. Kick is hit perfectly through the middle. Sweezum's 2 for 2. Redskins have made it an 8-point game. Philly about to get it back. Deshaun Jackson took one to the house. 68-yard punt return for a touchdown was the second score after a long sustained drive by the Eagles after they took the opening kickoff. And since then, the Redskins have gone to work. Sweezum's 2 for 2. He's hit from 41. He's hit from 48. He kicks it back to the Eagles, and this one is going to give Philadelphia a start at their own 40. Wow. So that will set that off to the side for just a second, and we'll talk about Washington. It seems like they sustained themselves and kind of got over that opening flurry by the Eagles, and they've hung in this game. Now we'll see what they do defensively.
Yeah, you're right. And at 14-0, I mean, for them to be able to get back, particularly this last drive, and then get a field goal off of that. Now, I was going to say prior to the kick, you know, what they've got to do now right before half is not give up any points defensively to Philadelphia, but you're giving them the ball on the 40-yard line. I mean, this is going to be very difficult for this Redskins defense to keep the Eagles from not coming away with some points here prior to the half, and it won't be any fault of theirs.
Good job on camera, by the way.
Thank you, buddy. You're doing better.
That was
doing better with that.
Flags before the snap. And it's a false start. So they'll start at their 35.
Illegal snap. Offense. Number 67. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So the old illegal snap for Jamal Jackson. It's 1st and 15. Chicago leading Detroit 10-0. Atlanta extends their lead over Green Bay 17-7. All 3 of the timeouts remaining for the Eagles, who lead by 8. A little stunting up front defensively, and that one is batted down. Carter is celebrating. See Cornelius Griffin get pulled back to his feet, so he's healthy enough to be back on the field, and that's a nice appearance back up front defensively for the Redskins with Griffin. And here is Carter, big number 99.
And that was a good block there, because Jason Avant had a step on Fred Smoot, and had McNabb been able to get the ball into his hands, it looked like it could have gone for a pretty good gain. So those are plays that you don't notice unless you're a coach, and then you go back and you watch the coach's tape on Monday and you think, man, we had a chance for a big one.
Handoff is to Westbrook, and there is nothing there. And now the crowd here is starting to get frustrated as Griffin and Carter combine to make that stop. And it will be 3rd down and 15.
Yeah, I think it's 2nd and long. It's 2nd and 15. You know, the fans didn't want to see a running play. I go back to the running play would have been fine if it had gone for 15 yards. You know, the fans always react after the fact, but you know, here at 3rd and long now, unlikely they're going to be able to convert this one.
4-man rush from the Redskins. McNabb has all day. A penalty flag comes in as Westbrook is brought down immediately by Smoot. This one is against Philadelphia. The penalty should be declined, and a punt will come. And that was a good job by Washington's defense.
That was a great job by them defensively, not even giving up a first down. I mean, when you're talking about the number 6 offense in the National Football League getting the ball on the 40-yard line.
Offense. Number 82. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
And not be able to get into a position to attempt a field goal, let alone not even get a first down. A great job. Now Washington, I mean, they still have 2 timeouts left. It'll depend on field position, I'm sure, but I would have to believe Jim Zorn's going to play this pretty aggressively.
Sav Rocca, who leads the league in net punting yardage, hits it, and Antoine Randall gets dropped immediately. Nothing on the return as Quentin Demps, the rookie downfield, made the stop with 55 seconds left in the half. Pretty much a straight line right at Antwaan Randall L.
Yeah, Lee Torrance didn't do a whole lot to redirect him there, and I think Antwaan, when he finds out who exactly his man that was, he'll say, hey, appreciate you.
Visa halftime report is coming up. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. Scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up to the second stats, which we've been saying since 1994. First down, Washington, and Campbell's flushed out of the pocket, hits Antwaan Randall L in the chest, and he can't hang on. 50 seconds left in the half.
Usually a ball that hits a guy in the chest is a pretty good location.
Yeah, so says the bitter ex-quarterback. Well, a big shock earlier when you say, you know, if you're going to start a franchise, you start with the quarterback.
Well, I mean, don't you? I mean, I'm not saying anything against Brian Westbrook. I'm just saying that if you asked any coach, hey, who do you want to start your team with? I don't know that they pick a running back.
All right. 2nd and 10 over the middle, and the pass is caught. Gaither on the tackle for Philadelphia. And there is Antwaan Randall L. And timeout is taken here by Philadelphia. I want to know more about quarterback Jason Campbell, who was born in Mississippi. Did you know that?
I'm Jason Campbell. I'm from Taylorsville, Mississippi, small town. Used to have 2 stoplights, but now we only have 4-way stops. But I was born in Laura, Mississippi, Laura Hospital. Me and Clint Portis are from the same hospital, same year. You know, everybody didn't know that, but you know it now.
Boy, he's really taken big steps and big strides this year, literally and figuratively, in his career under Jim Zorn.
Boy, sure has. And when he was talking about going from 2 stoplights to 4-way stop, I thought he was talking about my hometown there for a minute. There in Oklahoma. I said, I didn't know him.
Down in 3. You are so much older than him.
No, thank you.
As am I. Redskins looking for that first down, and they hand it off. Depends on the spot. That was Liddell Betts, and he was brought down right at the marker. They stop the clock, and they will check. We could have a measurement coming. And we will.
Yeah, and the good news is if they pick up the first down here, they did not have to burn a timeout. You know, the Eagles called timeout so that they could get the ball back if they held them here. But now, if the Redskins do, in fact, get the first down, they'll still have 2 timeouts, still plenty of time. They'll have a chance to still get into a position for a field goal.
Yeah, that defensive timeout could come back and burn the Eagles if this is indeed enough for a first down. And it is. How about that? I mean, by an inch, that's a first down. And I don't think members of the Eagles defense agree with the call. Jim Zorn was ready to spend a timeout. Right now the clock is stopped. They will wind the clock, the game clock. So the Redskins should get up at the line and get ready to go.
They should have been better prepared than what they are right now to get this play off.
Out of the shotgun, it's Campbell over the middle. It's Cooley, tipped in, incomplete. Gaither with coverage, and Chris Cooley got his hand on it. Couldn't haul it in, and we ask you to help support the hurricane recovery efforts for Galveston Island in the greater Gulf Coast community. You can visit BushClintonCoastalFund.org. BushClintonCoastalFund.org to learn more and make a donation. 2nd down and 10 for the Redskins, down by 8. 29 seconds left in the half, and that is Betts, who hops out of bounds. And when I say hops, he was helped by Lito Shepherd. That was good for 7. And it'll be 3rd down and 3, and still 2 timeouts left for Washington.
Well, if they're going to get themselves in position, you know, they're going to have to get some bigger chunks here. And you know, you can see there with the job that Jason Campbell has done protecting the football, and it goes without saying. I always say, you know, these coaches who come out and say, well, as long as we win the turnover battle, then we're going to win football games. But the the turnovers come in the attempt to try to move the football and win a football game. Well, we got an official here who.
That's the umpire who.
Yeah, that's a dangerous spot. I mean, I always thought these umpires, they're right behind the defensive line, right at linebacker level. They ought to get dressed up like a goalie does in hockey, you know, to protect themselves, because they're getting battered around pretty good.
That is Jeff Rice. They toyed with the idea of having the umpire behind the offense. But I mean, whether you're Jeff Rice or anybody else across the league, that umpire is right in the middle of heavy traffic. We'll take a break, come back. 3rd and 3 for the Redskins. Well, the Redskins have converted 4 of their last 6 third downs, 5 of 9 for the game, and their only giveaway was a fumble on a punt by Antoine Randall. That's it. The offense has not turned the ball over, and they need a first down here to have a chance to get it down the field and do something before half. From the shotgun, the pass complete to Cooley, and now the Redskins can spend one of their 2 timeouts. 19 seconds left, and time for Washington to maybe get some points here before the half.
Yeah, they're still in pretty good shape. You know, I mean, they had not done a real good job converting on 3rd downs the first couple of possessions that they had, but since that time they've been pretty good. That was a big first down there, as you said, Joe, in order to give themselves an opportunity. Now, you know, with 19 seconds, even with 1 timeout, I mean, at least affords them the ability to get the ball down the middle of the field, and they can use that timeout. They can clock the ball if they need to, but they need to get a big chunk here in order to get themselves in a position for Sweezum to attempt a field goal.
There's the score with the Philadelphia Phillies leading at Milwaukee. Joe Blanton and Jeff Suppan, the starters. They're in the bottom of the 4th there with the Phillies up 2-1, and if they hang on, we know the matchup. It'll be the Dodgers at the Phillies on Thursday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Game 1 in high definition, only on Fox and from right across the street. Omar Gaither got an earful from Jim Johnson after that last completion to Cooley. And here's another one as Cooley makes a beeline for the sideline. Gets it inside Eagles territory to the 49. But now only 12 seconds remain and 1 timeout for the Redskins. After the first couple of weeks, people looked at the NFC East and said, well, there's the best division in football. You've got the Giants, the defending champs. You got the Cowboys. You've got the Eagles, who are off to the good start, and everybody forgot to mention the Redskins. They're not going to forget to mention the Redskins anymore. 2nd and 6 over the middle. Pass complete to Cooley. And now the Redskins can use that final timeout and bring Sweezum out onto the field and try to close it down to a 5-point game.
Yeah, that's where having the last timeout really helped them in being able to work the middle of the field to Cooley. You know, this is going to be a pretty good distance field goal, but you know, they're able to get Cooley down the middle, and without any reservation of getting him the ball, knowing that they could call the timeout, stop the clock, and then get Sweezum on the field for the attempt.
50-yard try roughly for Sweezum. His career long is 52 yards, which he did back in 06. Would be his season long if he hits this. 2 for 2 today, 4 for 4 last week at Dallas. And that's how advanced kickers are. You lick your finger and stick it up into the wind.
You know, you're always checking the wind in golf. You usually throw up a blade of grass or so, but I like that. That's old school.
That is. So's hip hip hooray.
Yeah.
About as old school as you can get. 50 yards for Sweezum. Jim Zorn will say, hip hip hooray. It's a 5-point game with 3 seconds left in the half. Jim Zorn seems to be, and we don't know him other than just talking to him for the last couple of weeks, one of the most genuinely nice guys that you could run across as a head coach of an NFL team or anywhere in life. As Sweezum is 3 for 3 today.
Yeah, I've had a chance to know Jim Zorn, you know, for a while. Primarily when we would cover Seattle games, and he was he was the quarterback coach, and from those encounters, I mean, you would never, or I wouldn't have anyway, thought that he would be nearly as intense an individual as what all these players have said he is there with Washington now that he's the head coach. And very, very involved. And I go back to kind of what we talked a little bit about last week after that first game. I mean, who would have thought that the Redskins would be where they're currently at? And I know a lot of Redskins fans didn't think that they would be, but right now, and we all tend to react from one week to the next.
Sure.
But I like what he's done. And I think they found him something here. I think Dan Snyder made himself a good hire, a guy who wants to be in Washington, is enjoying it. The players are responding to him. But things are working out well for this Redskin team.
Well, there's no doubt that they didn't play well on that opening Thursday at the Giants. Here's Greg Lewis on the return, thinking about a lateral, and that's how the half will end. But what I liked about Jim Zorn is that he said, you know what, I had to fight myself to not flinch after week 1 and to not go back and try and redo everything, just to stick with a plan and believe that it would turn out for Jason Campbell, this offense and this team, and it has. They've won 3 in a row, and they have survived a 14-point hole here in Philadelphia on the road. It's 14-9 at the half. Redskins run off the field. The Eagles kind of slump off the field. We're at the half. The NFL on Fox will continue. The Visa halftime coming up after this from
The Visa Halftime Report is sponsored by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Life takes Visa.
And we welcome you to the Visa Halftime Report. Kurt Menefee along with Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. And let's get to it, TB, Washington and Philly to start.
Good football game. It is Westbrook, though. The Eagles up inside between the tackles. Takes it in from 9 yards out. Touchdown, 7-0 Eagles on top of the Redskins. Westbrook getting some chiropractic adjustments there on the sideline. Then, later in the first quarter, Deshaun Jackson takes this punt, Howie. Up inside, Howie. Strahan, look at this. No way you could catch him. Down the sideline. I'm the only one here that's in shape. 68-yard touchdown. 14-0 Eagles. 14-9 now at half. It is Westbrook leading the game. Comes back in, though. 14-9. Eagles on top of the Redskins. Seahawks at the New York Giants. Eli Manning. Michael Strahan said Dominic Hickson would catch a touchdown in the first half. Well, he did. 32-yard touchdown. Michael, nice job. Nice job. Giants up 7-0. Brandon Jacobs, 2 touchdowns rushing in the first half. This one up 3 yards. It's 27-6. Giants all over the visiting Seahawks. Chicago and Detroit. Kyle Orton. Holy cows, he coming alive. 3 touchdown passes last week against the Eagles. This one to Mac Forte of 9 yards, 10-0 Bears, and then to Devin Hester on a quick slant. Nice job, 12-yard touchdown reception, 17-0 Bears over the Lions. Atlanta and Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, bruised shoulder and off, plays in this game. Play action, down the middle. Normally you don't throw this ball. Why? Well, you see it. Everybody's covered. Nobody's open. Perfect throw. Great concentration by Donald Driver. 44-yard touchdown, 7-0 Atlanta. But Matt Ryan, the rookie out of Boston College, 2 touchdown passes in the first half. This 22-yarder to Roddy White, 17-7 Atlanta on top of Green Bay.
Elsewhere, Baltimore and Tennessee locked in a defensive battle at halftime. What about San Diego and Miami?
Oh, man, traveling across the country do make you tired. Chad Pennington to Greg Camille. Can say that.
Camarillo.
There it is, 17-yard touchdown pass. 10-3 at this point, 17-3. Dolphins all over San Diego. That's a halftime score. Kansas City at Carolina. Jake Delhomme, Jimmy, not Dale Homey. Jake Delhomme, Louisiana boy, hands off D'Angelo Williams. 10-yard touchdown run. You gotta love it. 7-0 Carolina. And then Damon Heward finds Tony Gonzalez, the great tight end for Kansas City. He sets a record for receiving yards by a tight end with 10,064. Second quarter, Delhomme back. There's the blitz. Who's going to cover the guy on the flat? The guy that blitzed. Blitz control to D'Angelo Williams. 25-yard touchdown reception. 21-0 Carolina over Kansas City. Indianapolis at Houston. Joseph Adai, Houston native, went to LSU. There, 1-yard touchdown run. 10-0. It's the coach, Sage Rosenfeld. Powerful name. Don't forget it. Sage Rosenfeld, Andre Johnson. We got a heck of a ball game there. 17-10 Houston on top of the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, we'll get back to the Giants getting their roll on in just a bit. But Howie, Washington and Philly, even though the Redskins trailed, you like what you've seen so far.
Yeah, Philly jumps out on them on the road, 14-0. This team has shown it all year. They showed it versus New Orleans, versus Arizona, and last week. To me, it all comes down to the quarterback. You're going against a Jim Johnson defense, and this kid gets better with each quarter in the game. It's reflected in the numbers. Early on, they struggle a little bit versus this defense. They've thrown the ball 19 times. They're putting the ball in their young quarterback's hands against the Jim Johnson defense. That drive at the end of the half was big for them. Big for them.
Big for Philadelphia, though, keeping the field goals. They have not given up a touchdown at home this year. Now, the only thing is they've got to be concerned on their rush defense. They've been playing strong run defense all year long. Today, 72 yards running against them. Portis and Betts running the football.
You know, take a look right now, Michael, at Seattle and the Giants. I mean, forget Seattle. Let's talk about this Giants team. They look unstoppable.
Giants are a new team. This is not even the team I played on. I mean, they don't need me. They don't need OC. They don't need Plexico. The team really believes they can win with whoever they have in there. Right now, they're running the ball well. Eli's really throwing the ball well. My guy Hickson, the hero, Hickson.
Yeah, I told him he'd do well after that preseason.
Hickson. I just gave him a new nickname. 1 touchdown, another catch down to the 1-yard line. The Giants are rolling.
Giant fans were excited because he had 3 touchdowns in the preseason. I guess they know something. Second half coming your way right after this as we continue with a Visa halftime report.
I picked the Giants.
Well, Donovan McNabb and the rest of the offense will watch the Philadelphia defense try and go back to work against Jason Campbell. Jason Campbell, the guy who turned the ball over 19 times in 13 starts last year. Then he got hurt at the end of the season, gave way to Todd Collins, who was undefeated in the regular season, helped Washington get to the postseason, and still Jason Campbell has yet to turn it over.
Well, it's no wonder why he has not had a fumble. I mean, looking at some of the drills in Pam Oliver's piece on the pregame show.
Throwing everything at him. Here, let's see if he can dodge a kitchen sink and a wrench. Rock Cartwright has it go off his hands, and he takes a knee in the end zone. Let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, Jim Zorn was sort of pumping his fist as the Redskins went into the locker room at halftime. He says we got to be patient on offense. Got to turn some of those drives into preferably some touchdowns. He expects more of the same from his evil counterpart, Jim Johnson. He expects heavy pressure on Jason Campbell to continue, although he felt like they handled it better as the game progressed.
Yeah, that's always the thing, Pam and Troy, is where are they coming from? Jim Johnson will send literally anybody and everybody at a quarterback during the course of a game. So far the protection's been okay as Clinton Portis carries it for 3, and I know you wouldn't have liked to face this kind of pressure in your career. Well, I know you did, but yeah. I mean, this guy does it about as well as anybody.
He does, and I had the unfortunate opportunity to play against some of these Jim Johnson coached defensive teams, and they're physical. And as you said, I mean, where are they coming from? What they like to do is give you a look to where you think they're coming from, maybe the offensive left side, and then those guys back out and they're coming from the right side. Very confusing, not just for the quarterback, but for the offensive lineman.
Good protection here for Campbell, who hits Cooley in stride, and Chris Cooley, the outstanding tight end, a Pro Bowler last year, is out to the Washington 49, a 27-yard completion.
Yeah, you're going to see Chris Cooley, great patience on this route. You see the hole in the middle. He could have very easily have ran in there awfully fast, but he knew that Jason Campbell wouldn't have been ready to make the throw at that time. Jason Campbell does a nice job of laying that one right in the hole where the void was. And you know, Chris Cooley, you know, there's so many great players at that position as we talk about each and every week. Chris Cooley, he's kind of a working man's tight end.
Here is Portis, left side, changes the ball from his right arm to his outside arm and gains 6. Pretty big hit by Quentin Michael on the end of that Chris Cooley catch and run. And here is Washington in a hurry getting the ball into Philadelphia territory.
You know, it's interesting just watching this game and how Washington has just hung in there. I mean, as bad as they looked early, you know, and that happens. I mean, you come in as an offense and you're feeling out a team that's very aggressive, and you know, you go 3 and out and don't look particularly good, but they've settled in now and they seem to have a pretty good feel as to what's coming at them.
Campbell throws, and that's off the hands of Antoine Randall, who has a couple of drops in this game. That would have been good enough for a first down. Instead, 3rd down coming up. The one thing the Eagles defense has been able to do is shut out Santana Moss.
Yeah, and that was the focus coming into this ball game, not giving up big plays. I mean, Jim Johnson, I really like his philosophy. They're doing a great job against the run, but the running game is not what really drives him. It's about big plays, and so they want to take out the big playmaker, and that's obviously Santana Moss with the Redskins.
Handoff is to Portis. Nowhere to go. In the middle of it, Stuart Bradley came in to make the stop. 4th down now, and the punt team will come on the field for the Redskins.
Well, now, I mean, all of Antoine Randall L on 2nd down, that'll go down as a drop, but it'll probably be forgotten, you know, and yet had he have been able to make that catch, it's a 1st down, and so you get down here in a good position, not able to convert on 3rd down, and now the Redskins are forced to punt. So, you know, really their own errors that kept them from being able to move the football here on this first possession.
Durant Brooks hangs it high, and a fair catch is called for and taken in by Deshaun Jackson with Kari Campbell just breathing on him. Somehow he held on, and the Eagles have it at their own 20. Jim Zorn over on the sideline talking to the offense. Santana Moss got to be frustrated. Without a catch so far in this game. A lot of good quarterback play going on around the league today. Not just here in Philadelphia. But Campbell. There's the day for McNabb. But Matt Ryan of the Falcons. Eli Manning of the Giants. Here is McNabb throwing over the middle, and it's into and out of the arms of Greg Lewis. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
More Giants offense, more Eli Manning, this time to Sonoris Moss, 23 yards. Moss's first career touchdown, but Eli's 6th of the season. And get this, Joe and Troy, he's thrown it to 6 different receivers. They're up 34-6.
Wow, so he is spreading it around, and younger brother Sonoris is outdoing older brother Santana, who had that big day last week at Texas Stadium. Handoff is to Westbrook, and this defense has really stepped up and figured out a way to slow down, if not stop, Westbrook. Andre Carter was in there, gain of only 2, 3rd and long coming up.
Yeah, you know, right now the Eagles are going to a little bit of a sugar huddle too, no huddle, trying to get a little something going. But to follow up on your point, Joe, I think this Redskins defense is vastly underrated here early in the season, and I'll tell you in time as to why I think that's why.
Here's a 3rd and 8 play, and this one is incomplete. Carlos Rogers with coverage. Jason Avant couldn't haul it in, and it's a quick 3 and out.
You know, I think if you look at the Redskins defensively in this year and what they've been able to do, you know, they've really done a good job against the teams that they've been playing. Nice job there on 3rd down, keeping them from converting. But look at who they've played, Joe, on the offensive side of the ball. They've played the number 4, number 3, number 5, and number 2 offenses in the first 4 weeks of the season, and now they got the number 6 offense, so their numbers are a little inflated defensively.
Fair catch, Antoine Randall L. back near his own 25. 53-yard punt by Rocca. Jason Campbell and the Redskins offense back to the field. NLCS Game 1 is on Thursday night right here on Fox. The Dodgers are in. They swept the Cubs. The Phillies trying to get there with a win today. They're up 5-0 over Milwaukee, and you have to like it when postseason series start and the pitching has come back around and both sides are able to throw their best at the start of the series. That would be the case. The Phillies hang on. They can save Cole Hamels for Game 1, as this one is knocked away by Parker, and Derek Lowe would be on the mound for the Dodgers.
Yeah, and this is the time of year when I get to kind of decide which team it is that I'm pulling for.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I grew up in Oklahoma, no California.
No, well, I've been around.
Like the Dodgers.
I've been around. No, I'm still. Hey, I grew up a big Red Sox fan. Still love the Red Sox, but then I also spent time at Dodger Stadium and at the Big A. You know, I mean, I'm torn.
Well, there was a stretch there where you couldn't get enough of the Yankees.
You remember that, huh?
Yeah. Here's Portis over the right side, good for 1, and the first 2 plays have netted a yard by Washington as Quentin Michael came up to make the stop for the Eagles.
Yeah, and Quentin Michael, I mean, a guy who took the long road to becoming a starter in the National Football League, a free agent a few years ago, and you know, leading the team in tackles. And normally when a safety's leading the team in tackles, that's not a good thing. But when you consider that the Eagles are so good against the run, what it tells you is that Quentin Michael is spending a lot of time around the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 9. There's Michael coming again. Campbell throws, and he hits Antoine Randall for a first down. Out to the 42. So they can't get it to Santana Moss, but Antoine Randall good for 16.
This is a great look right here. Portis sees it late. You know, he holds the inside and then comes out and blocks Quentin Michael. And it gives Jason Campbell the ability to then to make a clean throw. You know, I know Clinton Portis, all the things that he does running the football, he says the thing that he enjoys most is blocking. He loves being able to put a guy on his back, and he's one of the best there is in the game right now at running back and blocking some of these secondary blitzes.
And he's one of the few guys you believe when they say that. Here is Portis. Look at that. Just will not go down. Clinton Portis down inside the 40. What a run by number 26, 21 yards. It looked like it stopped about halfway through, and he just kept going.
He keeps those legs going. You're going to see the push. Good push up front. Contact right there about 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. And then it takes Brian Dawkins, him getting over there to be able to make the play. Santana Moss doing a good job of blocking downfield. You see he gets position on Lito Shepherd.
That's the longest run against the Eagles defense this season. The #1 team against the run, and why not stay with the hot hand as Portis takes it to the 30 on a draw, 7-yard run.
And that's where I really like what Jim Zorn has done as the play caller. Think back to last week in that fourth quarter, and they started doing some of the same things. They got Clinton Portis going running the football. They kept coming back to him. He has a feel for what's working and when a guy gets hot. Clinton Portis now coming out of the game to take a breather. But good job following up a big gain with another play back to Portis on another big play.
Look at the balance. Same story last week at Dallas. They fake a toss, and Devin Thomas, the rookie, has a first down as he broke a tackle. Thomas good for 12 yards, and they're getting him involved in this offense.
Devin Thomas, and then there's Malcolm Kelly, who's also a second-round pick out of the University of Oklahoma, who has played a little bit today but has not had the impact, at least this early in the season, is what Devin Thomas has had. If those two guys, those two rookies, if they're able to develop and contribute, hopefully that'll happen in time. But if they're able to do that this year, I mean, they will really have themselves a heck of an arsenal then, considering what they have with Moss and Cooley and then Clinton Portis.
With Jason Campbell sitting right in the middle of it all, they do an end around Antoine Randall. He throws to Cooley for the touchdown. A touchdown throw from Antoine Randall, and in his career, that's his 4th touchdown pass. His first of this season, and he's 2 for 2 throwing it this year for Jim Zorn.
Well, former quarterback at the University of Indiana, you know, so he brings those types of skills, and you can utilize them in that way. You know, and he runs the reverse, so he gets the ball. They think he's going to keep it, and they're able to get the ball to Cooley.
Now Andy Reid is going to challenge it to see if Antoine Randall was across the line of scrimmage when he threw it. Everybody down on the sideline was screaming for Reid to throw it. The Redskins took a little while in getting that play away.
The ruling of the field that was a legal forward pass and a touchdown. Timeout.
Well, the blue line is the line of scrimmage, so we'll see. Now his whole body is going to have to be across. Ball, body, everything, and it's not even close.
That'll stand. That's a touchdown. And for Antoine Randall, he now has 4 touchdown passes in his career and a perfect quarterback rating. Throwing it. Another weapon for the Redskins, who have just taken their first lead. Let's get the call from Gene Steratore.
The ruling on the field stands. The offensive player was 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage when he made the forward pass. The result is a touchdown. Philadelphia will be charged with its first timeout.
Kind of a wasted challenge after looking at the replay. And as Troy said, the rule is passer has to be all the way across the line of scrimmage with the body, and the football has to be across as well, and that really wasn't all that close.
It wasn't close, and I got to tell you, I don't know exactly how the Eagles go about deciding how they're going to challenge something, but whoever is getting word down to Andy Reid, I think I'd have a long talk with him this week on what exactly it is he's watching, because that was a wasted timeout.
That is the first touchdown allowed by this Philadelphia defense at home this season. The Eagles led 14-0, 7.5 minutes into this game. Redskins have outscored them 16-0 since. Lead by 2 after the touchdown from Antoine Randall El. How about this game? 16 unanswered points put up by the Washington Redskins. They now lead by 2 as Chris Cooley gets the 18-yard touchdown reception from Antoine Randall El. Here's Demps. And Demps tiptoes and cannot make it to the 20. Lee Torrance was downfield, helped out on that tackle. And you look at Brian Dawkins down there in that huddle trying to talk and figure out something defensively. And now we shift to the Philadelphia offense. As after that first couple of possessions, they haven't done anything.
They haven't done too much, and they've had some chances, and then they've had a few drop balls in there as well. But you know, right now I think you got to be impressed with what Washington has done. We said it. They're at a point really where they're not gonna quit playing. I mean, they really believe that they can hang in there and have a chance to win. And you know, I think right now, based on the lack of production for Philadelphia, this is an important series for them.
You would have to believe that this drive will feature a lot of that man, number 36, Brian Westbrook. We go back to the touchdown throw to Cooley.
Yeah, Chris Cooley's right here on the end of the line, and you can tell that he's showing blocking right there, and then he works his way out. Everybody's pursuing Antoine Randall El, thinking it's a reverse, and that's why Cooley is able to get in then that second level. Linebackers are out of the way on flow, and then he's able to get into the end zone before there was any contact from the safeties.
So there's the touchdown combination. 2nd down and 3. As McNabb throws, and it's batted down. The Eagles offensively, their first drive went 12 plays for 80 yards. It ended with that Westbrook touchdown. Since then, they've run 20 plays that have netted 80 yards and no points. Their other touchdown came as you see London Fletcher get up and knock it down. The other touchdown came on the punt return by Deshaun Jackson, 68 yards for the score, and that is it.
Well, and I can tell you, if they don't pick up first down here after 7 yards on first down, I mean, that's going to be very demoralizing for this team.
3rd down and 3. Westbrook will draw a crowd, and he will not get the first down. Carlos Rogers made the play for Washington.
I mean, that's a problem. You come out on first down, which is a big down in terms of being able to move the football. It sets everything else up after that, and they get 7 yards. They get nothing on 2nd down, and then they get this on 3rd, the completion, and it's not enough for the first down. And that's frustrating. I mean, I know it's frustrating for Andy Reid, and you know, they just have not been able to pull it all together. They did in week 1 against the Rams, but since that time, it just has not been a 60-minute game of offense at any one time for them.
Antoine Randall El on the return. Out across the 30, an 8-yard return. How about the play of this defense for the Washington Redskins after that opening possession by the Eagles? Even without Jason Taylor in their lineup, who's cheerleading a good cause here today. Since the Eagles got that Deshaun Jackson punt return, 68 yards for a touchdown. They've been outscored 16-0. Dominated in yardage. The Eagles with 9 first downs on their first 2 drives, only 1 since. Toss to Portis, trying to wear down this Eagles defense, and he tries to find a hole, picks 1.5 yards up. Mike Patterson out there to make the play for Philadelphia.
And the Redskins have been able to do it without Santana Moss, who has been their leading receiver and big play guy. So, you know, the Eagles came into this game saying we don't want Santana Moss to be a factor. He hasn't been a factor, and yet the Redskins have still been able to find ways to move the ball and put some points on the board.
2nd down and 8. Portis again over the right side with Sellers in front of him, and he just tucks himself in behind Mike Sellers and is forced out of bounds close to the first down marker. And it is enough for a Washington first down by the end of the football.
Well, I'll tell you, this offensive line for Washington is really doing a good job. I mean, when you consider the fact that the Eagles came into this game defensively, holding teams to only 2.5 yards per rush, tops in the NFL, and 53 total yards rushing per game. I mean, and right now they're at 4.7 yards per carry, and you can tell Jim Zorn sees a little bit of a weakness in this run defense, and he's starting to go after it.
Here's Antoine Randall, and he has another drop. And Campbell just can't even look. He turns his back and kind of stares back down toward his own end zone. That is 3 that stand out to me. That was a good throw.
Yeah, that was a little awkward by Jason Campbell on what he was trying to exactly do, but you know, another one of those that not necessarily an easy catch, but a ball that Antoine Randall should be able to make. And it is frustrating. I mean, I know, and he's handling himself very well. It is frustrating for any quarterback. Donovan McNabb certainly has had his share of those this year. And you just try to regroup, and go to another down.
Here's Liddell Betts. Good play out front by this Philadelphia defense. Parker got his hands on him first, a gain of 1, and then he had help. And just one other note about Moss. Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, has been able to figure out ways to slow down Santana Moss, who was in his 7th career game against the Eagles and has yet to go over 100 yards and has only 1 touchdown that came while he was with the Jets. So they've stopped him, trying to figure out a way to stop the rest of the Redskins.
Well, this is typically when Jim Johnson wants to bring blitz, make the quarterback get the ball out of his hands quickly, and then tackle him short of the first down.
As the Redskins were coming to the line, the sideline actually called that timeout. And we look ahead to next week's football action. Panthers at Bucks, Rams at Redskins, Bears at the Falcons, Lions at the Vikings, and then late, Troy Aikman will be with Pam and Dick Stockton out in the desert for the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals, or the Eagles and 49ers.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm excited about getting out to Arizona. You know, I've not covered a Cardinals game in the 8 years that I've been broadcasting, and it's become somewhat of a joke. But I'm going to be out there next week. Of course, you'll be doing baseball, and I'm a little disappointed. In fact, a lot disappointed that Anquan Bolden won't be playing in that game, because he's a special player, and man, what a hit he took last week.
Yeah, it's disappointing that he had the surgery and he has the fracture, but great news that that's all it is, and at some point he will get back. He's out for an indefinite amount of time, and that's a big weapon for a team that's the top of the NFC West with a record of 2-2. 3rd down and 9 for Washington. 7 of 12 on 3rd down today.
And here comes the blitz off the edge.
So they roll Campbell, who lets it go for Thrash, who's up to grab it. Incomplete, but a flag. Samuel on the coverage. There was a lot of hand checking, and let's see who it's against. Asante Samuel was there on James Thrash.
Right out here is where James Thrash is, and Asante Samuel double move. There's some contact there, but it looked like that's where the flag came in, and I didn't really see anything necessarily from Asante Samuel.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 22. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I think you nailed it. It was not at the end of the play. It was halfway through the route on that kind of start and stop by James Thrash, and then the illegal contact, so an automatic first down.
Yeah, right when Thrash makes the double move, you're going to see the contact right there, and Asante Samuel trying to hold him up because he knew that if he didn't, he was going to be beat bad, which is actually a good penalty. But on the back end here, which was not the call, was good defense. But you know, that's what a corner, if you know you're going to get beat, then you got to do what you got to do to keep him from scoring the touchdown.
That's Santana Moss in motion. And out of the backfield, it's Clinton Portis, a block by Moss out on the edge. He put Chris Gokong, the strong side linebacker, on the ground, and he got a reaction from his sideline for that effort. Number 89.
Yeah, I think Santana Moss is saying, hey, if I'm not going to get the ball, the fans are wanting a clip. But from that area, it's my understanding that that's a legal block. And Santana Moss, not having had a reception, he said, I'll let out a little bit of my frustrations in the blocking game.
Also had his head around, so I think a good block. And now it's 2nd down and 6. Here is Portis over the left side, and not much. Bradley with help from Trent Cole. We haven't said Trent Cole's name all day long, and a guy who led this team in sacks last year has 2 of the 17 sacks for this defense at the start of the day.
Yeah, and this is always a tough game for Trent Cole when he's going up against Chris Samuels. In his career, his young career, he's gone up against Chris Samuels 6 times and only has 1 sack to show for it. So Chris Samuels does a pretty good job in this matchup with Trent Cole.
Both rookies are in, Devin Thomas and Malcolm Kelly on 3rd down. Pass is to Moss. There's his first. A penalty flag comes in. Moss has enough for a 1st down. We'll check the flag. Devin Thomas may be guilty of another offensive pass interference. Let's see.
Pass interference, offense. Number 11, 10-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
You heard the same thing I did. Devin Thomas say that he's not used to cornerbacks and defensive backs being on him so tight, so he's had a tough time right there pushing off as he does on Lito Shepherd.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly what Devin Thomas was thinking. I mean, he ran that as if he was expecting it to be a wide receiver bubble screen. And even then, you've got to block within a couple of yards of the line of scrimmage, and it was an out route by Santana Moss, and he just came off the ball and started blocking right away.
Redskins are going to have to hurry to get this play away. 3rd down and 14 as the 1st down is taken away. Handoff is to Betts. Breaks the tackle, but doesn't get much. A gain of only 4, and Stuart Bradley was there to make the stop. And with 3.5 to go in the 3rd quarter, because of that penalty on the rookie Devin Thomas, the Eagles are about to get it back.
You know, Devin Thomas, like I said, he's a talented guy, but like all rookies, it just takes some time for these guys to really figure out what the NFL game's all about. And that wasn't all that difficult, but you just can't do it.
Brooks hits the punt. Not a good one at all. Campbell taps it down inside the 25. They'll mark it at the 23. 29-yard punt. That is it. And this Philadelphia offense, which has really struggled since their first 2 possessions, will head back to work. We have a new audience joining us. Joe, Troy, and Pam with you from Philadelphia. The Eagles jumped out to a 14-0 start. Jason Campbell and the Redskins have battled all the way back to a 2-point lead. Washington 3-1, coming off a win in Dallas. Philadelphia 2-2. Andy Reid's team coming off a heartbreaking loss at Chicago. Starting at their own 23. Quick throw by McNabb, and this one is dropped by Brown. For those of you just joining us, here's a recap. Impressive opening drive by Philadelphia, capped on the run for the touchdown by Brian Westbrook, who missed last week. And then Deshaun Jackson, the rookie, a 68-yard punt return for a touchdown where the crew picked up a flag on that score. And then most recently, after field goals from Sweezum, a pass from Antoine Randall L. to Chris Cooley, 18 yards, and the go-ahead touchdown. 4th touchdown pass in the career of Antoine Randall L. And McNabb throws this one downfield, incomplete for Westbrook. No flag, even though London Fletcher knocked him to the ground with a ball in the air. They do not throw a flag. And I don't know, Troy, if you saw what I saw, but Fletcher recovering to get out on Westbrook. Got out there a little late, and there's really not a whole lot of contact.
Yeah, I agree. It looked to me like it was more their feet just getting tangled up. I will tell you, great. We're going to run a lot of zones. It's going to be a lot of the 2 deep Tampa stuff. but they have played more and more man, just like they did last week in the Dallas game. And it's because they're saying, hey, we match up against these guys, and we don't need to put more people in coverage. Let's start rushing Donovan McNabb a little bit more, and so far they've held up.
Extra men on the rush for the Redskins on third down underneath Westbrook, and what a tackle by London Fletcher. He brings Westbrook down after a gain of 7, and Fletcher, who's the leader of this defense and who has never missed a game in his NFL career in his 11th year, did what so many guys have a tough time doing, bringing down Westbrook.
It's a great job by London Fletcher. He's been playing outstanding here in the first 4 or 5 ball games of the season, matched up man-to-man on those last 2 plays with Westbrook, and that's tough duty, but he did a great job.
Rocca hits another good one. Antoine Randall from inside the 15 has some blocking, room to run, and he is out of bounds, and there's a face mask on the end of it. The Redskins are going to get great field position as Tank Daniels grabbed a lot of face mask on the tackle of Antoine Randall.
I think every official got a flag in that one. You know, it was seen from all over the field. Just about every official out here threw a flag when they saw this. You know, Tank Daniels got away with the block in the back on the Deshaun Jackson return for a touchdown, but he doesn't get away with this one.
Well, he got his hand up. There wasn't a lot of grasp and twist on the part of Daniels, and the officials get together. We'll see if they do make this call. Maybe one of the officials saw that it wasn't really that flagrant.
There are 2 fouls on the play. During the return, personal foul. Defense number 50, face mask. That penalty is declined. Also, after the play, personal foul, defense number 50, late hit out of bounds. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down, Washington.
So it doesn't even matter with the face mask whether it was or wasn't. They called a late hit or a hit out of bounds on Tank Daniels, and that's going to take the ball into Philadelphia territory.
Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily agree with the late hit part of it. You know, he was engaged with him just about the time that Randall was going out of bounds. Hard to let up at that point.
So the penalty takes it to the 43 of Philadelphia. It's first down, Washington up by 2. Here's Portis, and a good push up front by this Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. A gain of only 1. Cole was in there to start it for Philadelphia. What a good game. 2-point game, and second down and 9 for the Redskins. Portis over the right side behind Jansen. Jansen and Kendall were out there blocking. A gain of 8. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
You think you've got a close one in Green Bay. The Packer defense picks off Matt Ryan in the end zone. Packer offense pays it off. Aaron Rodgers to Greg Jennings, 25-yard score. And look at this. In the fourth quarter, Packers and Falcons all even at 17. Back to Joe, Troy, and Pam.
Yep, closer than what we've got with under a minute to play in the third quarter. That's Moss at the top of the screen, and that's Portis breaking loose. Sheldon Brown, the only one to save the touchdown. First and goal, Washington, as they have just taken over up front.
They're going off that left side again with Chris Samuel and Pete Kendall. You're going to see the push. You got Samuel who's pulling and leading the way, and then Mike Sellers. And look at the hole that's provided. You know, most of the big runs that Portis has had in this ball game have either been to the left side or they've been on the edge. Not a lot in between the tackles. You know, but they've continued to work that outside running game, stretch it out, and eventually Clinton Portis is going to find a hole, and he has found a few on the most recent runs.
Second straight week over 100 yards for Clinton Portis. Now it's Betts. And I'll echo what you said earlier, Troy, as we are finished with 3 quarters. Jim Zorn has sensed that up front his team has taken over. The weakness now has been a strength as the run defense for the Eagles. Big day for Portis, could be a bigger day for the Redskins. We go to the fourth, back after this from your local Fox station. Final quarter. The Redskins defense has pitched a shutout for the last 2.5 quarters. There was another missed field goal by David Akers in there, a 50-yarder that he missed. It could have made it 17-0. It's been all Washington since. 2nd and goal. They fake the handoff, and that one is knocked down. Brian Dawkins got up and tipped it away, and we go back to that run that set up 1st and goal.
Yeah, you're going to see Chris Cooley right here on the end of the line, and anytime you're running off the edge, you got to have a tight end who can seal that corner. And the job that he does, sealing it there. And then you've got Sellers who kicks out, and that's what creates the big lane. But it goes back to what I said about Chris Cooley a little bit earlier. You know, he really is a blue-collar tight end. You know, you don't hear a lot of people mention him when they name the best tight ends in football. He's an excellent receiver, but as we saw there, and we see it really each and every week, he's really a good blocker too.
3rd down and goal, and it's Portis walking in untouched. Clint Portis with the touchdown, and a huge score by this Washington offense. And this offensive line playing without Stephon Heyer with John Jansen in there. They have won here today over the Eagles defensive front four.
Well, they just run a draw. I mean, they came off play action on 2nd down. It's a draw, and he doesn't get touched. I mean, he just goes right through the middle of that defense untouched.
This Philadelphia defense had allowed in their first 4 games total 215 rush yards all season. 172 today alone, and Portis has been the main man. Along with our producer from Middleburg, Virginia, Richie Zients, and our director, Artie Kempner, Delaware's own, we welcome you back to Philadelphia. And we wish a happy birthday to Victor Gonzalez, the best tape guy in the business.
And to Marcy Kempner, and of course Ben Altop.
Absolutely. Week after week. Here is Quentin Demps on the return, and a penalty flag comes flying on the return as Demps gets it out to the 18 roughly, and we'll check the flag. And what is a 9-point game.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 81. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
So they get Avant for the foul, and we go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, it's kind of clear the Eagles have gone flat on offense, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see the growing frustration. But unlike the scene we saw a while ago with defensive leader Brian Dawkins gathering up his group for a fiery speech, the offense goes about things a lot differently. They just go to their respective ends of the bench without a whole lot of energy being spent on trying to get each other fired up.
Interesting, Pam, and the leader of that group is Donovan, who's trying to figure out a way to move the ball against this Washington defense, and they can't figure anything out. Can't get anything going as Westbrook gets one. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
Well, a lot of your audience was watching Seattle and the Giants. All they've missed is another Giant touchdown. This is Sonoris Moss's 2nd score of the game, 2nd of his career, and he got it from David Carr. It's 44-6, and you know, Joe, these days, David Carr is known as the human victory cigar.
Wow, thank you, Kurt. So Eli gets to sit the rest of this one out. He evidently had a huge day statistically. If you look at this Eagles offense, I mean, they're not, Troy, I don't see him shooting anything down the field. I mean, everything's right around the line of scrimmage, and it's not working. 2nd down and 9. They fake the handoff. The pass is behind L.J. Smith, who is fighting, and he comes up about 1.5 yards shy of a 1st down.
I just think it's a couple of things, Joe, and I go back to the job that Greg Blosch does and has done as defensive coordinator. I know what his game plan was coming into this game, and he really wanted to play a shell cover 2 defense to keep the Eagles from being able to throw the ball down the field. But he's gotten out of that scheme, and he's running a lot of the same things that he did against the Dallas Cowboys a week ago. A lot of man-to-man coverages, 8th guy up in the box, and so if these receivers don't start winning on the outside against man coverage, then you're not going to have big plays, and that's been the problem throughout this 2nd half.
3rd down and 2. Now they roll McNabb out. It's Avant with a catch, hops out of bounds with a 1st down. And this crowd reacts. It's only their second first down since those opening 2 drives. That is how dominant the Washington defense has been.
Yeah, when you get a first down, when you're backed up on your own end of the field and the fans go crazy at home, that's a pretty good indication you haven't had a real good day offensively.
Thanks, Jeff Foxworthy. First down, Philadelphia. McNabb, Westbrook out of the backfield, guns it for the sideline and has another Eagle first down. They went 28 minutes between first downs, and now they have 2 on back-to-back plays.
Well, I know this sounds a little odd, but, you know, a little bit like golf. You know, the first par is the hardest to get, and oftentimes in offensive football, the first down's the hardest to get. And so for an offensive unit that had been struggling, and then they got a first down, and then it gets you going a little bit. Now they've been able to put back-to-back first downs together, and my guess is that they're going to start moving the football here a little bit better, certainly better than what they had been.
It's a 2-possession game, 2-score game, 9-point difference on the scoreboard. They reverse it. Deshaun Jackson looking for a block on the outside. He gets it kind of from Brown, and a gain of 5.
You know, the plays that they've gotten here on this possession have really been mostly misdirection stuff. You know, off the screen, and they come back here with the reverse. And I know that Washington, you know, they do have good team speed. They do pursue awfully well to the ball. And maybe right now Andy's saying that, hey, let's see if maybe we can't take advantage of some of this speed. It's a little bit late to be doing that, but it's better late than not having done it at all.
But they've hardly thrown the ball downfield, especially in the direction of Deshaun Jackson. McNabb throws, and the pass complete to Brown, not touched. Pops up and still going. Down inside the 25. Forty-yard play. After Reggie Brown went down, nobody tapped him. He popped up and kept on going.
It was a good catch on his part coming back to the football because it was a low throw. And as you can tell, yeah, nobody touched him while he was on the ground. That's another rookie mistake by Chris Horton. You know, he makes good plays, but then he's had some of those that have hurt the team.
Now a quick snap on the part of the Eagles, and Tony Hunt, the fullback, carries it for 5 yards, his longest run. And we're under 11 minutes to play.
You know, it just kind of goes to show you that, you know, in the National Football League, there's always these momentum shifts, and it's hard to keep. Rarely do you see, no matter how poorly a particular offense is playing, do you see them not at some point put it together and make a surge. And the Eagles are too good of a football team offensively not to have eventually put something together like this.
Here's Westbrook, and Brian Westbrook has another Philadelphia first down. Boy, the way this game started with that first drive, you thought it was going to be an easy day for Westbrook and this Philadelphia offense. It's been anything but until this drive. 8 plays, 70 yards, and coming up on 5 minutes off the clock. Ball is at the 11. Phillies have added to their lead. It's 6-1 now in the top of the 8th at Milwaukee. So trying to stamp their ticket for the NLCS. And a date with the Dodgers here on Fox on Thursday night. McNabb throws. Reggie Brown with a catch to the 2. There's a better pace to this offense as well. They seem to have a little more jump, getting to the line quicker and forcing the issue.
Yeah, I think, you know, they're getting in and out of the huddle a little bit better than what they were. They're not wallowing around dwelling on some of the mistakes that have occurred up to this point. And now, I mean, obviously the Eagles are hoping to be able to punch this thing in and get a touchdown, but at least regardless of what happens, they should get points to where it's a 1-possession game, and then the pressure gets back on Washington to do something with it next.
2nd and 1 from the 2. They hand to Westbrook. And now here we go. This crowd will groan and moan if they don't pound it in here after getting so close at Chicago a week ago.
Well, it shocked me last week that Andy Reid got criticized for not throwing the football from the 1-yard line. He ran it 3 straight times. and was criticized. To me, any offensive unit should be able to move the football 1 yard. But knowing that he was criticized, I'm really interested in seeing what he's going to do here on third down, whether it's going to be play action or if he's going to run it again and show the convictions that he did last week.
Well, it's third down, but they only have about half a yard to get a first down. Play clock is winding down. That would be a bigger mistake, and they have to use a timeout. Now they reset the play clock, so they don't have to take the timeout, and McNabb can change the play at the line. They can get a first down without a touchdown. Handoff is to Westbrook, who goes backward to the 5. Campbell and Carter in there to make the play, and this crowd now sees a fourth down with the ball back at the 5-yard line, and they have to try the field goal.
Check this out right here and see what happens. I mean, there's so much pressure. Andre Carter, he blows him up. In the back is Mike McGlynn, the backup guard that they put in blocking situations and goal line, and he got blown up by Andre Carter. And that's what kept Westbrook from being able to bounce that ball out to the outside.
They had Dan Klecko in there blocking. He couldn't get the job done, and now Akers will try from 23 and sneak it in. So with a third and less than 1, a chance to get a first and goal, the Eagles go backward. More trouble near the goal line as they trail by 6. Good work defensively by the Redskins, and more failure to bang it into the end zone by this Philadelphia offense. Frustrated at Chicago, and Donovan McNabb is trying to explain himself or hear an explanation on the phone. But up front, they are not winning battles, and that was missed opportunity to say the least. As Rock Cartwright takes it, returns it, a flag comes flying in on the return as Cartwright puts together a 21-yard return. So the officials come together. Redskins offense back on the field. And they're just waiting to find out where they will start this drive. Leading by 6.
There seems to be an awful lot of confusion as to exactly what the flags are that are on the field.
2 different officials threw them.
There are no fouls for blocking the back on the play. The flag put for illegal block on the back 50 of the defense. It's not a foul. It's first down. Washington, timeout.
That's twice now they've picked up flags on a call involving a number 50. Big day on the ground for this Washington offense. And it's been Clinton Portis for the Redskins carrying the load. Seven minutes, 12 seconds left. Redskins with it, up by 6. Back to the ground game, back to Clinton Portis, who gets 2 yards over the left side as we learn more about the Washington running back.
I was born in Laurel, Mississippi, country boy. My date to my senior prom was the one and only Ronell Hearn, which happens to be my mom. My mom and family are big cookers. They cook for the whole team. Right now, half the team is requesting for her to be in town to cook pork chops.
Whether it's that or his former weekly press conferences and different get-ups, he is marching to the beat of his own drum. Here's 2nd and 8, and a handoff is to Portis. Well-timed play, and he's out across the 25 near the 27. Bradley on the tackle, a run of 5 yards.
Now, right now, I mean, obviously what the Redskins are hoping to do is move the football, convert on third downs, and take this clock down, and hopefully be able to come away with some points when it's all said and done. And so this is a critical third down. For Philadelphia to be able to make a stop, get the ball back into their offense's hands. They're going to have to score a touchdown if they do get the ball back.
3rd and 3.
All out blitz here.
And that forces Campbell to take a timeout. Both Quentin Michael and Brian Dawkins came up and were showing blitz. So Campbell says, hold on a minute. I need to talk about that one. Timeout, Washington. Over 50% on third down today are the Redskins. They came in at 34% for the season. Here's a big one, 3rd and 3. Campbell pulls it down, flips for the first down, and there's more yards for L. They have not. Yeah, Randall L was down, and what was it, 10 seconds after the play? They finally blow the whistles, but there's more of the maturation, Troy, of Jason Campbell. He just gets more impressive by the week. He was really patient.
Yeah, I mean, and when you talk, and he's shown his most poise at the most critical moments in these games. I mean, he wanted to throw it there, and then he waited. He waited until Antoine Randall L could clear the void and then get in the hole. And the Eagles, who prior to the timeout had shown that they were going to come out with an all-out blitz, you know, they knew that Redskins were going to go talk about it. They then played coverage. But a great job there by Jason Campbell, just showing tremendous poise and finding Randall L, you know, in the hole.
Well, that replay we just showed, I don't know if Antoine Randall L was touched. Here's Clinton Portis. He loses 2 over the left side, but I think the officials were looking at each other. Finally, one of them blew the whistle and stopped the play. It's 2nd down and 12.
And the official that was the closest to make the call didn't call him down. I mean, I was watching him, and he was letting Randall L go. Here's another look at it.
I mean, I don't know that Sheldon Brown touches him.
Yeah, I mean, from that angle, it's hard to tell. It certainly didn't look like he was touched. You probably get a better angle from here. Yeah, I don't know, hard to tell, but it didn't look like he got touched, Joe. You're right.
2nd down and 12, and the handoff is to Portis, and now the defense for the Eagles trying to come up with plays to stop this drive. That's good for 3. 3rd down and 9 coming up. Remember, the Eagles have only 2 timeouts left because they had one taken away basically on a bad challenge. And they challenged whether Antoine Randall L was across the line of scrimmage when he threw a touchdown to Cooley. We're under 5 to play. From the shotgun, Campbell steps up. He'll try and run for it, and he'll make it. Takes a seat inside Philadelphia territory, and if he's not doing it with his arm, he does it here with his legs. 1st down, Washington.
And the reason it works, they're in what is called 2-deep man coverage. There's a 2-deep. Everybody else locked up in man coverage, and when you have that coverage, nobody is accounting for the quarterback. Look at all that room there in the middle that Jason Campbell has to run, and that's a great job on his part, recognizing that the coverage is 2-man and that he can take off and run on his own with nobody there to make the play. That's the weakness of that coverage.
Liddell Betts at tailback. He gets it over the left side. And Betts will take it to the 40, picking up 7.
And to follow up on that coverage just a little bit, the reason that there is nobody accounting for the quarterback, everybody has their back to the quarterback because they're running with the receivers. And for them to finally get turned around to then make a play on the quarterback, it's too late. He had already got the 1st down.
We welcome in an audience, and the audience is the one that's been watching the Giants take apart the Seattle Seahawks. You have a lot of interest in this game, there's no doubt, with the implications in the NFC East. Washington fell behind 14-0 midway through the 1st quarter. It has been all Redskins since. Here's where they took their first lead. A pass completion to Cooley from Antoine Randall L for a touchdown. Then Clinton Portis, part of his big day, a defensive stand by this Washington defense on 3rd and less than 1. With Washington trying to stop the Eagles from making it a 2-point game. They did, and there's the summary. Cooley a big day. Campbell's done what he has needed to do, and here is Liddell Betts. The Eagles have only one timeout, and I believe they are taking it here before a third down play. They are, as these two teams start to mix it up. How about Washington on the ground, Troy? If an audience is just joining us, this was the top-rated defense in the NFL defending against the run, and this has been a 200-yard day on the ground for the Redskins, running it through this Eagles defense. Let's go for a game break as Philly takes their last timeout. Here's Kurt.
Packers and Falcons still going at it. Aaron Rodgers got to throw it underhanded, but makes it work to Donald Lee, pulls them to within 3 points, under 2 minutes left. Rodgers, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, playing with that sprained shoulder. They did not recover the onside kick, so Atlanta has the ball, trying to run out the clock. Joe?
All right, thank you, Kurt. So the Atlanta Falcons, who started the day at 2-2, can go over the 500 mark with a win at Green Bay.
They're talking about Atlanta taking the clock down now. I'm sure they're going to be taking a knee. That's exactly what the Redskins are going to be doing. If they pick up this first down with no timeouts, they get it to the 2-minute warning, then they will not have to. They could just take a knee and run it all the way down.
Yeah, this is almost all or nothing here for this Philadelphia defense. Campbell's going to put it up and throws it away. So not only do they not run it, do they not pick it up, but they stop the clock with an incomplete pass. And they are on the outer edge, probably beyond field goal range for Sweezum. That was a bad chain of events for the Redskins.
Yeah, and you can tell Jim Zorn is not happy about that. And my guess is he's upset with Jason Campbell, because if it's not there, you know, just go to the ground, see if you can scramble, do what you can do. But you could have run the clock all the way down to 2 minutes.
So now a timeout is taken by Washington. It would be a 57-yard try from here, which would be by far a career long for Sweezum. And was this what Jim Zorn was upset about? Or did Portis go the wrong way? Or Jason Campbell turn the wrong way? Whatever it was, it appears that this Washington offense will go for it on 4th down. Try and pick up the first down and then basically run out the clock. So it's all going to come down to a 4th down play. That's how it appears right now.
Well, I'll tell you that if they go for it here on 4th down and they don't make it, they're giving the Eagles awfully good field position. You know, I'd be almost more inclined to just try to pooch punt this thing down in there and say, hey, our defense is not going to give up a touchdown. But, you know, this is a risky call. There's no question about it.
Especially since the Eagles are without any timeouts. Same for the Redskins, but it's more of a factor for Philadelphia as they trail by 6. Redskins trying to win back-to-back weeks on the road in the NFC East. They won at Dallas. They lead in Philadelphia. 4th and 1. Handoff is to Portis. Clinton Portis pushing the pile for a first down. Just looking at the game clock and the play clock, they're about even. The game clock may be half a second ahead, but what a job by this offensive line and Clinton Portis in particular.
There was contact well short of the line of scrimmage, but they just kept moving. Clinton Portis kept moving. The offensive line kept moving. You see Randy Thomas in there, Casey Robach and Pete Kendall. I mean, the whole group just moved the pile. And yeah, now they're going to go down to the 2-minute warning. The Eagles have no timeouts, and they'll take a knee from here on out. Game will be over. And what a, you know, you look at this team and to finish up against the divisional games on the road 2-1, and knowing that their next 3 divisional games are all going to be at FedEx Field. It's a big win here today.
2 minutes left in Philadelphia. Well, they've done just about everything right. They've allowed 3 points and, gosh, basically 3.5 quarters. The Washington defense, the offensive line is put together this day, and against the number 3 defense in the league, just about 400 yards. New audience joins us, and if you're looking at the scoreboard, how about this? It was 14-0 Eagles midway through the first quarter. It's been basically all Washington since. They won at Dallas last week. They're winning here in Philadelphia this week. They can run out the clock here as Philadelphia's without a timeout. The Eagles about to go to 2-3 on the season. Washington to 4-1, and their next 3 opponents are a combined 1-10.
And Joe, I would tell you that the Redskins going for it there on 4th and 1, I thought was a pretty risky call, but what it does is it illustrates once again how Jim Zorn is here to win games, and he's going to finish games, and he doesn't play not to lose, he plays to win, and that was another example of it on 4th and 1.
And look at this. I mean, here's another fourth quarter where Jim Zorn's team has dominated. They've done that every week since week 1. This drive started with over 7 minutes left on the clock, and they're able to run it out. And here are their upcoming games against St. Louis, Cleveland, and Detroit, combined 1-10. Then against Pittsburgh. What will this Washington record be at the end of that stretch of games? And what another big day for Campbell. No turnovers offensively. That streak continues. And just under 400 yards of total offense against the number 3 defense in the NFL. And if Jim Zorn had his team doing a throwback Chuck Knox hip hip hooray cheer last week, they'll have them doing the Charleston or something else after this one, because they were dominant again on the road in the division. The Philadelphia Phillies won 6-2. They're in the NLCS against the Dodgers. The bad news for the Eagles. They lose at home to the Redskins. AT&T postgame show coming up after we come back to Philadelphia to wrap up a big day for Jim Zorn's Redskins. It is a 6-point win on the road for the Washington Redskins, and they are now 4-1 on the season. Our UPS leaderboard. UPS, what can Brown do for you? You look at Campbell, 176 yards, no turnovers again this week. Hasn't done that all season. Clinton Portis, big day on the ground, even bigger than he had last week at Dallas. And Cooley, 8 catches for 109 yards. There's more action for you here on this Sunday. We go to Detroit and congratulate Washington on a 6-point win here in Philadelphia. So long.